It's January the 8th. This is Video Diary podcast number 3. It's 3 days to my colonoscopy. Now, I've said that word more times in the last week than ever before in my whole life, in English and in Spanish. Colonoscopia. So, how am I getting on with preparing for that? Is it possible to prepare for that? How do I feel? How's the weight loss going? Come with me and find out. Welcome to my YouTooSpain personal diary. Hello, Scats here. Thanks again for all of your supportive comments for the first 2 podcasts. Should I call them podcasts? Are they podcasts? Are they vlogs? Or are they just video diaries? That's what I've been calling them so far. I like the word podcast. How do you cast a pod? I don't know. I need information. Somebody tell me, please. This is also a significant milestone for me. This is my 300th video on YouTooSpain, and you are a big part of why I keep making them, so thank you very much. I've actually done more than 300 videos, but some of them are only relevant to one particular time, so I've taken them off and put them in a sort of private category so that they're not showing up anymore on the site and cluttering everything up. So yeah, I actually went over that 300 mark a while back, but anyway, this is the official 300 mark as it says on the channel. You're now getting 3 kinds of videos every week. You're getting these personal podcasts, which are a lot more to do about living in Spain. You're getting the midweek information videos, which are mostly to do with moving to Spain and getting residency. You're also getting the Saturday live interviews with really interesting guests and the sort of the Q&As with the experts. Keep on supporting everything about them. Subscribing makes it easier for you to do that, because you get notifications about when each video is coming out. So please feel free to do that. Anyway, it's Monday the 8th of January as I speak. I'm not sure what day the video is coming out. I'm going to try and get it out Monday evening, but I'm a bit tight for time today. We'll see how it goes. Let's start with a weight loss update before I get onto the colonoscopy bit, because as I said, it's only 3 days until I'm in the hospital. That may be even closer by the time you see the video. I actually realised after I'd put out the last video that I'd failed to edit in some of the pictures and bits of video when I was saying things like, "Here's what the scales said today," and you were left just looking at my face, which must have been very pleasant for you indeed. I was obviously in far too much of a hurry to get the videos out. How very unprofessional of me. I'm so very sorry. So, here are the readings, hopefully if I remember to put them in this time. The readings for the last 5 days up to today, that's the 8th of January. As you can see, it's not all on a downward trajectory, which is always annoying, as you must know if you've ever been on a diet. It's also a bit odd because apart from last night when I actually had a takeaway after my gig, wasn't a particularly bad takeaway, although you might think kebab is not a particularly good takeaway. I didn't have the bread, and I said don't put any other sauce on it, although I did take away some chilli sauce. But while he was serving it, he put some of the yoghurt on the top, and yoghurt's very sweet, and the chilli sauce, I'm fairly sure, had some sugar in it. And I don't know what was in the kebab itself. I asked for a mixed one, which would have been chicken and beef, because they actually make them with beef. That's not like in the UK and Ireland where they make it all of lamb. Lamb's very expensive here. So I don't know the carb content of that particular piece of food, and you never can know when you don't make something yourself. Anyway, apart from that, I think I've been following keto and intermittent fasting rules pretty well. That's what I thought. But still, sometimes, as I've found in the past, there doesn't seem to be any rhyme and reason to the fluctuations. And of course, there's the question of, are my scales accurate? They have been known to show significant weight loss and even gain sometimes that bear absolutely no relation to what I've eaten and how much activity I've been doing. So I'm not entirely convinced of their accuracy. And also, I've noticed when I do a long walk or jump around and dance a lot at a gig one day, sometimes it shows that I've put on weight. How much of that, I wonder, is to do with building muscles, which are heavier than fat, And how long does it take for that to build and show on the scales? Can it show overnight? I doubt that. I know that it becomes more difficult in the long run to shift weight as I get fitter and my metabolism improves. But I think it's too early days for that. I've only been doing it for a week. What do you think? What happens in your experience? I've also heard that cardio exercise doesn't burn fat like the slower exercise. You know, when I say slower exercise, I mean where your heart's not beating so fast. I think it's over 120 BPM. Don't know. So that could all be something to do with it. Okay, so how do I feel today? Quite worn out, actually. I've got a real lack of energy. It's not enough to stop me making this podcast, though. I don't think it's anything to worry about. I did have a busy weekend, and Mondays I should really relax. I got up early to prepare for the live show on Saturday morning. I did a gig in the evening. And, quite apart from the physical exertion of just loading and unloading the heavy kit from the house to the car into the venue, and then all of that in reverse afterwards. And then there's all of the dancing and running around that I do as part of my act. I am well known for being the most energetic performer in the area. I go into the audience and right the way around dancing, encouraging people. That's not a boast to say I'm the most energetic. It's just what people say. I also use up a lot of mental energy, especially when it's the first time I've played at a venue, which it was on Saturday. I've got a nervous energy about that, which ramps up the stress and uses up a lot of energy. Then there's making sure that everything is set up and it's working properly. There's always a few nerves about that because I've got an iPad with some backing music on it, which sometimes doesn't quite work properly if the leads aren't quite plugged in properly. I've got little extensions and adapters and things on it. It can be scary. And also I have to make sure that from the minute I come through the door, I'm engaging the audience and the staff, and all the way through for hours until I'm actually driving away from the venue. I have to engage, and that takes up a lot of mental and physical energy for me. As a solo performer, it's especially totally my responsibility to make everyone's night really special. It's not such a stress when I'm in a duo or with a band, because I'm not necessarily the focus all of the time. Somebody else can be engaging people as they go along and you can relax a bit. But when you're the only one, that's your responsibility. It's your name on the poster. And I am the buzz that they carry home with them. It's a lot of responsibility. And I have that buzz too when I leave the venue. It takes a little while for me to calm down and to sleep after doing all of that. I'm on a dry January, so I'm not drinking at the moment. As you know, if you've been watching the first two podcasts, this is an advantage and a disadvantage. It can relax me enough to get to sleep after a gig sometimes. But, of course, at the same time, it takes up my blood glucose, and that doesn't help me sleep at all. Although it usually means I can get to sleep okay. But when I wake up in the middle of the night needing a pee, I can't get back to sleep again, and it feels like I'm buzzing, and then my mind gets working, and it just ramps everything up, and it's like catch-22. You just can't slow down. But without drinking, it's not as easy to get to sleep and calm down in the first place. So, swings and roundabouts. I did manage to get some sleep on Saturday, but my Sunday gig was early in the afternoon, so that meant I'd been awake late, and then I had to be up much earlier than I'd like to be on a Sunday morning, and then go through that whole physical and mental gig process all over again. In case you're wondering, I am not complaining one bit. I've got a very full and rich life, and it's richer and fuller because of the music that's in it and the energy that I bring to you. So I bring it to me and I bring it to you. It's for all of us. So I'm very grateful. I'm just a bit worn out, and I'm still not back to fitness after overindulging. Normally at the end of the summer I'm tired but very fit. But as you go into the winter, and I get into this habit where we might go out somewhere. Liz and I, we went to a jazz festival in Malaga, which was early in November, I think. And it's from that point that it's a lot more difficult, because I tend to, if I'm going out for the weekend, I'll say, okay, I'll relax the diet, not be so keto, and maybe even the fasting, and maybe start eating earlier in the day, because you're out there to experience the whole thing, and you want to taste and experience the different foods that are available. It's special occasion. If you deny yourself too much, as I said on Saturday's live programme, we'll talk about that in a minute, then you don't feel like you're enjoying life as much. So you've got to get the balance. Anyway, that sometimes sets me off on a bit overindulgent, but it's easier to get back after that jazz weekend. I kind of got back into keto very, very quickly. So once you've done that, you've got into keto again very, very quickly and lost the weight again quite quickly. You think, oh, well, I can do that anytime I want then, and then you do it the next weekend, and then you do it halfway through the week, and then you go, I may as well forget about it, because Liz's birthday's coming up, then we've got visitors, and then there's something else, there's a Christmas meal going on, and then there's my birthday, and then there's people arrive for Christmas, and then and all the way, and suddenly New Year, you go, no, and you feel like a great big whale. And so the overindulgence just sort of ramps up all the way through. And of course, I'm a glucose addict. So once I've started on the cheesecake, it's very difficult to stop. And I make jokes about it, that I can throw a cheesecake at my face and that's it. But, shouldn't really be a joke. I'm a diabetic. So there's also no doubt that my bowels have something to do with it too, because I sometimes go, I may as well just be eating lovely things, and sometimes I don't feel like eating, but I'm doing it anyway because the sugar makes me feel good for a bit. So, talking of bowels, yay! I still have that uncomfortable stomach feeling, and I'm riding it just like I have been for over a year now. That just doesn't go away, and that feeling of, am I really hungry? Do I want to eat anything? So anyway, the colonoscopy is in 3 days. I've told you that a few times. Part of me is thinking, thank goodness for that. Not long to go before I get some kind of diagnosis, hopefully, if they've got a diagnosis for me. Part of me is thinking, has time slowed down or what? I want it done and out of the way, and it's affecting every part of my life. I didn't even get to see the helicopter arrive in Computer carrying the 3 kings on Friday. It was this is Computer at night, by the way, the picture behind me. They arrived somewhere. It's difficult to do this backwards, my finger's going the wrong direction, but it arrived somewhere like there where my finger is, on top of a car park. I think that was on Friday. I heard it anyway. I was in the studio preparing Saturday's show. I really wanted to do some video of it to show you on this video, but my stomach said no. Oh yes, you heard me right, by the way. The 3 kings came in by helicopter. Very traditional. And then they went round the village in their traditional Fiat 500s with open tops, just like the Pope Mobile. Brilliant. I think this combination of the old and the new is well, it's funny, at least to me. I don't know what you think of it. I'm sure the kids don't mind because, they're getting showered with sweets, let's face it. But I do wonder what the older members of the community think about it, or whether they would prefer the older traditions to keep on going. I'll see if I can find out and let you know in the next video. What's it like where you are? Are you in Spain or are you somewhere else? Where do they do the 3 kings? It's I think it's in the Catholic areas. You can answer that one for me. Have they gone modern where you are, or do they use camels or maybe donkeys? Donkeys are a lot easier here in Spain, especially in the rural areas. There are lots of farmers who have donkeys and asses and those same kind of beasts that look like that. So, anything else to report apart from asses? Well, there is. I've got one word: trepidation. It's a very great word. I feel trepidation about the lead up to the hospital appointment. I've been talking to lots of you in the area about that. I actually got a phone call from the hospital on Friday, I think it was, just checking I was definitely coming, which was very nice. It was kind of a reassuring phone call. Nice to know that they do that. And the guy spoke really good English too. I was wondering about that because, well, especially when I'm going to be drowsy with the drugs, and if they need me to speak Spanish, then, I don't know what I'm going to be like. Whether I remember how to speak Spanish, that'll be a test for me. But, I think they're going to be fine with English. So that's a weight off my mind, I suppose. It's really funny, actually. I keep getting people, and it's especially at the gigs, I've been getting people telling me all about their experience of the medicine that you use to flush out your system in the 24 hours before the colonoscopy. One person, a good friend, was saying, well, you should do it for, be careful for about 48 hours before, just to make sure. So don't eat anything, clogging, I suppose. She didn't use that word, but I like it. Eat light stuff in the 48 hours before, and then that will make sure that it's all cleaned out properly, and make sure you follow the instructions on the different packets. You get 2 packets of stuff. One you take in 24 hours before, I think, and then another one that you take during the day before you have the colonoscopy. It's been really funny, actually, hearing people's descriptions. Been quite amusing, and it's very helpful, I think, in managing my expectations. That's very important to me, managing my expectations. When you go to the dentist, for example, and they say this is going to hurt, then or they say that the doctors as well, but I don't mind them saying that, because that's managing your expectations. But I'd like them to say, this is going to hurt for 1 minute, or this is going to hurt just for 10 seconds, or this is just going to be a quick, or this is going to hurt for, it's going to be very uncomfortable for half an hour. Then fair enough. Manage my expectations, then I can prepare for it. I did ask in the last podcast, I think it was, would I be stuck on the loo for hours? Would I need to take a book with me, or even my laptop, and do some work? But you've been assuring me that once I've taken the chemicals, that it's going to be, that won't be necessary. It's more of an on and off thing. So I'll get some brief respite in between the gushing. That's a good word. I like gushing. Come on, everybody, let's all say it together. Gushing, or gushing. That's the northern version. Now, you can all see it in your minds now, can't you? You're welcome. Talking of gushing, how do I make it sound sexual? It can't do. No, it's. I might cut that bit out. I might leave it in. Who knows? It's. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's not very easy jumping up and down at gigs when you've got bowel problems, I have to say. I do take a couple of breaks when I'm performing for 3 hours. I always say when I'm about to take the break, I'm just getting a drink, back in 5 minutes, but it's more about going to the bathroom to release the pressure valve, because farting is most definitely not an option. I can be very clear about that. I foolishly haven't been packing extra undies and trousers for my gigs, just in case. I should really, because it's only going to take one time. Yes, it's only going to take one time to embarrass me completely, and I don't know what would happen if that happened, so I'm going to do that. Anyway, I wonder how much stronger my muscles have become down there from gripping. Gripping, is it gripping? They do squeezing. Stopping anything from dribbling. This is a video of good words, isn't it? And there's another image for you. Gripping and dribbling. I hope you're not eating right now, because this really is quite an onomatopoeic. That's the word. You know what that means? You tell me. I know what it means. Did you see the live show with Maiken, the health and fitness coach, that I did on Saturday? If you didn't catch it, it's all here on the channel for you to watch back. In case you didn't know, the live shows, they're not just live, they're videos afterwards. You can watch back anytime. It's well worth watching. It's very inspiring. There's even more on there for you about health issues and moving to Spain issues, and you'll hear how Maiken went from having 2 children and putting on the excess pregnancy weight, and you'll hear even more. She even conquered that, and she's now helping others to balance. This is the important thing that I'm finding out myself, helping to balance the very enjoyable Spanish lifestyle on one hand, the thing that every person wants when they move here to Spain, balancing that with becoming more healthy on the other. How do you do that? How do you still enjoy life to the full and be healthy? Very interesting question. If I could bottle up the response and sell it, I'd be a millionaire. So, this is most likely the last podcast before the colonoscopy. The next one will be all about how it all went. Should I do some videos of it? I've asked you this before. A lot of you said, you do what you want, Scats. So I'll do what I want. Look out for that. I might not feel like using my phone and taking videos while I'm in there. I'll be just chilling out, having a tube stuck up my arse. So, possibly you'll get a video on Friday, if I'm okay to make that on the day after the colonoscopy. We'll see how I feel. Maybe I'll have a diagnosis then, that's exciting. And maybe I'll have an appointment for an operation to sort me out. I don't know. Actually, I can't think about that right now. Focus on the present. Focus on the present, Scats. So, thank you for watching and supporting. Please buy me a coffee or 3.com at the link below the video. Peace and love. See you in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye.